So, Inigo, nice to see you again. It seems like it's been ages since I last saw you.
Yeah, nice to see you, Gordon. Yeah, very glad to be here, sharing
Yeah,
this session
no, great.
together.
And I'm really excited to talk about this campaign because it's around a dating app, isn't it? Love to know, first of all, how did you get the gig?
So it's actually not about the dating app. Just to give you, do you want to repeat that? So because it's
Yes.
actually it's about an app that is perceived as a dating app, and that's that we were
Beg your
trying to
pardon, beg
get.
your pardon. Right, right. My bad then. Right, yeah. So this is a great campaign because it's an app, but it's been perceived as a dating app. So I guess one of the challenges is, how do we use creators and influencers to change that perception? So love to hear about how you went around this particular campaign.
Yes, of course. Well, yeah, this was a campaign for our client Azar, and it was an audience shaping campaign. And the main goal was to raise awareness of the app while also reshaping how the target audience perceives them. Although they are a leading global video chat platform, it was perceived as a dating app.
Mm.
This misconception created reputational challenges and made the app less appealing to audiences who actually wanted something beyond dating. So this campaign aimed to really change that perception by highlighting Azar's true positioning, a fun, safe, and engaging platform to meet new people, chat, and connect globally, right? Not
Mm.
a dating service.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting point that you make because so often, particularly with some of these chatting apps, women in particular can feel quite vulnerable, can't they? So I guess making sure that if you're having a campaign, which I can see that you found that women were a key part of your strategy and your selection, was that right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, partnering with female influencers was really critical to really building trust with with female audiences here. Yeah.
Good. And so tell us a little bit more about how you went about doing that in terms of selection.
So I mean, the largest obstacle was brand perception, right? So users were associating us with dating, leading to negative sentiment, and then, as I said, especially among women who were a key target demographic for our client. And then from there, we would say that there was like some secondary challenges which influencer negative sentiment, meaning like many creators will hesitate to associate their brand or their profiles with Azar, feeding some kind of backlash from their audiences. This, of course, there was a challenge with onboarding. The process of briefing and aligning influencers required more effort than anticipated. And yeah, as I said, the part about the female audience targeting, which we needed to build credibility among these users and segment where trust and safety are really paramount, right? So to get a little bit more deeper into the key pillars of our strategy, we wanted to leverage influencer credibility and storytelling to achieve the type of reposition that we were looking for here. As I said, we wanted creators to frame the app as a platform for fun, authentic global connections and removing completely that dating connotation, right? In terms of pillars of the strategy, we focused on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram because these platforms offer both reach and the right audience type of profiles. We, also, as I said before, focus on partnering with female influencers as a critical part to building the trust that we needed. And, we built building credibility top down, meaning engaging with mega celebrity influencers, creating a halo effect. If a big name trusts the apps, then other smaller creators, are
Right.
more willing to join. Right?
Yeah.
So then, influencers basically were encouraged to really focus on experiences, friendships, and fun rather than romance. This is a bit
And what
of
and
the key
was it
pillars.
Was it important for the people that you were selecting to be already on the app, as users?
Well, I mean, in this case, as I said, that we were trying, it was a process of onboarding influencers, and there was a time for them to get familiar with the app.
Okay.
Some influencers were already, using it, some other influencers don't, but it was important for, to build that trust and credibility that the influencers spend, a certain time on the app and like, remove those, negative connotations or negative sentiment that some of them might have, right? So it was, you know, there was, as I said, or there was effort or work that has to be done. It's not like just a campaign that you get an influencer, send them a product, and start to do it, right? So
No, I
it's
know, I
it's
can
important.
absolutely see. It's a really important point that we're talking about here because so often people sometimes think that, oh, yes, an influencer, they get a product and they go and promote it. Well, actually, it has to totally align with their values and they have to feel comfortable that it's going to
Exactly.
add value to their audience. So when you were going through this onboarding process, presumably some influencers, didn't, they tried it, but they didn't want to be part of it. How do you, is that middle person between client and agent, how do you respond to the influences in that way?
Well, I think one of the things that we did that was really really important is that we created video briefs of ourselves, explaining the campaign, and
Mm,
then we this way we try to really humanize the brand and get influencers excited. This was a really very important part of the campaign where like we really needed to, the influencers very familiar with the product again, remove the negative connotations that they might have. And also the part that helped a lot was again first securing, some big names that then, other smaller influencers will say,
of
if
course.
these
Right.
guys if these guys are working with this brand, it's
Got you. So if you've got that person, then I'm going to be part of it. Yeah, I understand.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
That will reduce the hesitation, among smaller creators. And it's just okay, this guy is working with this brand, I'm guessing, there is also no risk for me as a creator as well, right?
Absolutely. So how many influencers did you use overall?
Okay, so for this campaign, okay, I mean I've not put here the specific number. Okay, let me see. Okay, can you go with the question again?
Yeah. So how many influencers did you actually use for the campaign?
So it was around 100 influencers, like I said, with a mix of mega celebrities and then, a smaller mid-tier to micro influencers.
Wow. So a pretty decent investment then.
Yeah, pretty decent investment and, you know, pretty, pretty challenging. I would say not pretty challenging, but pretty big impact, that the campaign needed to produce.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And so, I mean, I think the other thing is so important, isn't it? It's getting not just advertising messages out there, but real storytelling, real experiential content that people feel. Because you're not just selling something, you're changing behavior, and that often has to rely on emotional connection, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And that's why also we, although we brief the influencers with, some tailored guidelines, at the same time, we really gave them the creative freedom, to express themselves and create authentic stories.
And what type of content do you think worked really well? I mean, presumably you'll have seen it all. And, so often when you're using like 100 influencers, there's all manner of different content. And on the face of it, you can look at the audience, you can look at the engagement rate, and all of a sudden, one or two of them just go off into the sunset in terms of success and engagement and almost going viral sometimes. And I just wondered whether or not you found from the campaign any types of content that were really quite amazing.
Yeah, definitely. The content that worked the best here was when these influencers were highlighting real use cases of Azar. So, the influencers themselves going the app, making new friends, exploring cultures, learning languages. And, that definitely helped to really show the reality of the platform versus, that, negative or like connotation towards dating and negativity that, is some of it.
So what you're saying is it's just if people have thought about this app for dating, then all of a sudden the influencers were almost sharing them. Look, I'm actually learning a language on this. I'm going out for meals with this. So you're
Yeah, they
almost
were making new friends. They were also, exploring cultures, like talking with, people from different countries.
got it.
This
Yeah.
is what we were trying to highlight. That it really felt really authentic, and then that's how, where we saw the best results.
And in terms of the results, then what did they look like in terms of against the benchmark that you'd set? Because this is obviously quite a big investment. I would imagine that the brand wanted to see some serious levels of engagement or brand awareness.
Yeah. So, we used different tools to actually measuring, what was the measuring the sentiment, before and after the campaign, and also, the share of voice of the app versus other competitors. In terms of before and after, I can give you some results. Before the campaign, the share of voice was around 4% versus other competitors. And then after the campaign, we saw an increase to 12% of share of voice, which was basically triple the starting benchmark and
Mm.
surpassing, some competitors. Coming from that predominantly negative connotation, really looking into, this only looking at it as a dating app, we saw a sentiment shifted noticeably to, while not overwhelmingly positive, audience recognition improved while more users acknowledge Azar as fun and non-dating platform, right? Which mean our objective was achieved there. Then tapping into the female audience part, we saw an increase in female presence, not only in the campaign representation and resulting, but also in the usage of the app afterwards by female representation. And then, of course, this is more important for an app, the coming from maybe more like a stable and limited growth potential, going to a more boost on those installs, which, a lot of that came from working with mega celebrity influencers, and then the kind of like a snowball created by also the mid-tier and micro influencers, to boost those installs and boost growth, right?
Absolutely. So what was some of your big takeaways? You're running the campaign, you're looking at the review afterwards. What would you say were some of your big takeaways from it?
So I would say, like, if you're trying to reposition a brand with negative or misunderstood perceptions, always start with influencers who can lend credibility and anchor your narrative. Don't just fight perception with ads. Use trust voices to reframe the conversation. And always remember, when your team truly believes in the mission, it shows in every interaction, making it easier, to bring others on board.
Great, lovely. Thank you so much for that. That was really, really insightful. So I think just to finish, I'd love to get your take on a couple of trends that you think are going to impact in the influencer marketing industry in the next year or two.
Well, I mean, influencer marketing is moving so quickly, especially with the rise of AI and new features. But something that is very much on the rise, especially on TikTok, is social SEO. So if you didn't know, early this year, TikTok put a lot more emphasis on their search feed within the app, meaning your content can show up there based on if the algorithm thinks if your content is relevant to a specific keywords. Social SEO refers to the practice of, optimizing your social media content so that it ranks higher in search results within social media platforms. It's basically an integration of social media strategies with search engine optimization, SEO, techniques to improve visibility and discoverability. So, we are looking at the future. We are now always providing the influencers, that we work with trending keywords and highly searched terms that they must include in their captions, hashtags, and video titles, as it helps their content show up in searches. And yeah, also related, I think it's important that for agencies like us to thrive in the future, it's important to understand that we're going to be making use of, AI to analyze much higher amounts of data to suggest, better matches or, red flag influencers, and so on. I mean, we're definitely going to use AI to better identify, uh, the right influencers and optimize campaigns. You know, there is still, that human part that needs to be done. AI is going to help, basically free agencies from a lot of hours of the day from the part of the scouting, segmentation, reporting, but this actually allows for more time to our team to focus on, strategy, relationships, and creative thinking. So I think that's how the industry is going to be moving
Yeah, great.
during
I
the
mean,
next year or so.
I absolutely agree with you. And the more time we can spend with creative thinking, the better. What I think is so frustrating is when a brand comes to you with a campaign idea, you want to really get behind it, but you have so little time because you have to turn it around in a very quick period. And it's very frustrating, isn't it? Because with more time, you'd have been able to do this and involve the creators in the discussion points as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Exactly, and you cannot yet fully rely on AI for a full-fledged influencer campaign. The personal touch of having your campaign managers talk to influencers and form relationships is also so important.
Good stuff, my friend. Thank you so much for today. Really good and a great session, actually. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks for having me, Gordon. It was great.